In this video, we're going to be discussing the $1,200 stimulus check for those of you who have not received it, and we're briefly going to hit on the second round of stimulus checks and your eligibility if you're one of those people receiving Social Security, whether it's disability, survivors, retirement, or SSI benefits, as well as VA benefits and railroad retirees. Hey everyone, this is Matt. Welcome back to another Blind to Billionaire video. Today is Monday, June 29th, and I'm joined by my wife, Corey.
Hi.
And we're going to get right into it. And just like we say in all of our videos, we're here to help you through this very confusing time. We know there's a lot of questions. That's why we create these videos. And hopefully this video will help you if you have not received your payment quite yet. So we're going to give you some different ideas and help you work through this situation so you can maybe have peace of mind when your payment will arrive and when you can expect to get it if you haven't already. So let's get right into it. First, I want to mention the Get My Payment tool on the IRS website. Now, I realize this is kind of old news, but it's not at the same time because we continue to get so many questions about this. Here's what we've noticed with the Get My Payment tool from many people, like a lot of people, the majority of you commenting, you're saying that it comes up with a message saying unable to determine eligibility or something along those lines. Here's the deal. The tool typically, from what we've observed, does not update until it's about a week out from sending your payment. So for example, today is Monday, the 29th of June. Let's say you're scheduled to get your payment again. Just in theory, I'm just making up a hypothetical example. Let's say you're scheduled to receive your payment on July 10th, Wednesday, July 10th. Typically, from what we've observed and from all the comments, the hundreds, the thousands of comments we've read, people typically report that they get the payment tool updates typically about a week early. So maybe by like this Wednesday, by this Thursday, something like this, that payment tool would possibly update. I actually just realized I said the date wrong. It'd be July 8th, actually, what would be the date? So anyway, it was just an example anyway, but typically the tool updates about a week out from when you should expect your payment. So I just wanted to mention that because a lot of people keep commenting saying the tool doesn't say anything. It says I'm ineligible or ineligible. Well, just be patient. That just means that they're still working on it, which it's confusing why it's so slow.
And when people have, like, from the feedback we've received from people who've called the IRS and gotten, like, to figure out, like, where's my payment? Yep. The IRS is telling them that if it says ineligible to determine payment or something along those lines, yep, they specifically said, the IRS people too, like a ton of people we've talked to have specifically said that just means that they haven't determined it yet, but it doesn't mean that it's not coming. It just means they haven't processed it yet. So that's like from the IRS to people who have called. So I wouldn't worry if it says ineligible. It just means, like Matt said, it's just not quite, it's not quite happening for you yet.
Right. I want to mention something else. For any of you who filed a 2018 or 2019 tax return, if you filed it by paper, like mail, you filled out a paper copy and mailed it in, just recognize it takes them a long time to process those paper tax returns. So if you're one of those people, it could be quite a while yet because, first of all, they were shut down for I don't even know how long, a month or two, where they weren't even processing any of those because agents were not in the office because of the shutdown. So just recognize they're probably backed up now that they're back in the office processing those paper applications. So just keep that in mind that, if you're one of those people, which there's probably not a ton of you, but yeah, that's just another thing. One other thing I want to mention too, if you're someone who receives Social Security, whether it's any of the Social Security, retirement, survivors, disability, or SSI, just remember the Social Security Administration is supplying your information to the IRS. So when the Get My Payment tool says they don't have your information, basically from what people have been saying, the agents from the IRS are saying like, hey, SSA hasn't supplied your information quite yet. That's why we haven't been able to determine your eligibility, which again seems so ridiculous to me because here it is, 2020. I feel like technology, we should be able to just literally push a button and figure out if basically everybody in the country is eligible for a payment or not. So that's still confusing to me, but this is just how they're doing it apparently.
And what the IRS.gov website is saying about the tax return that we were just kind of talking about. So it says that we're experiencing delays processing some returns. If you already filed, you do not need to take action and should not file a duplicate return. If you have not filed yet, your return If you've not yet filed your return but are required to do so, then you can file your return electronically and choose direct deposit for any refund. So if you're supposed to file a tax return and you haven't, you can do that. There's like hyperlinks at the IRS.gov website.
Yep.
But I mean, it just says right there that they're like experiencing delays processing some returns. So it's really bad news for you, but at the same time, just know like that they're addressing it.
Yep.
So
yeah, so let's get into the next issue. There's a lot of comments that we're still receiving from people saying my identity was stolen or I was claimed as a dependent on someone else's tax return, so therefore I'm not eligible to receive the stimulus check. What can I do? My best advice would be call the IRS. First of all, I just want to say we can't help you with that. I mean, there's nothing we can do. We're not the IRS. We don't have authority to do that. So we unfortunately cannot help you. But my recommendation would be call the IRS, connect with an agent, and tell them your situation. You were claimed fraudulently by somebody else. Somebody stole your identity. Or in some instances, some people have been reporting that, hey, my Get My Payment tool said I was supposed to receive my payment. It was mailed. It never arrived. Maybe it got lost in the mail. Maybe it was delivered to the wrong house. I don't know, something like that. If you're one of those people, again, call the IRS, tell them the situation, and they will have the right answers for you. If somebody stole your identity, I mean, that's fraudulent. So, of course, you would need to take the proper legal actions to reverse that. I'm not sure how they do it, but again, an IRS agent would be able to help walk you through that situation. So I don't know what they do in order to do that, and I'm guessing it's a very long process that takes a long time because that's just how the government works. But that's step number one, contact them, the IRS. And you can just do a simple Google search. Go on Google and type in IRS phone number, and you should get some phone numbers. Just start calling. If you get automated messages, continue calling. Eventually you'll get through and just follow the prompts to talk to somebody.
And right here on the IRS.gov website, it says if your payment was issued but lost, stolen, destroyed, or not received, there's some things that you can do. I won't get into every specific detail, but basically there's a way to trace your payment. If the Get My Payment shows that your payment was issued but not received.
Yeah.
So you can get a payment trace, and there's a way to do that through that website. So
that's actually
that's just something else that I would mention.
That's really good. And you know what? I'd mention that I think a lot of you should actually do that. And the reason is we continue to get messages almost daily of people saying, Get My Payment tool says April 29th was my payment date, or May 18th, just other dates that are a long time ago. Check that tracing tool out. Maybe you'll get some kind of answer like, yes, your payment was issued, but it was forfeited because of back child support or something like that. Of course, the situation is different for everybody, but just recognize, maybe check that tracing tool out and see if you can figure out where it went. Because if you had a payment date, if they said that your payment was sent and you never received it, something happened to it and we need to figure out what happened. The best thing I can say is don't give up. A few people have been writing saying, I just give up, I don't care anymore. Well, I mean, that's your choice, but I guess I say you have that money coming to you. I mean, you've waited this long, let's just figure it out. I mean, you're in like the final inning of this game. Let's just figure out where it is and get it to you.
And I actually just found a phone number that we'll be posting, and this is what it says. And this is from the IRS.gov, but to start a payment trace, there's a phone number you can call. I'll give it out, but it's 1-800-919-9835. And basically what they're saying is you may experience long wait times or recorded help because our staffing is limited. There's other things you could do too, but we'll put that phone number in there in case if that's your situation in the description.
Read it one more time just in case.
1-800-919-9835. That is what the IRS is giving as the starting a payment trace phone number.
Yep.
So,
and again,
it wouldn't be bad to just give it a go.
Yeah. And like we keep saying, if you keep getting the recorded message, continue calling back. Typically, when you get the recorded message, that just means like, hey, all the agents are full and our queue is full with like a ton of people calling and waiting on hold already. So my best advice would be call on a different day. Call later in the week. Call like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, something like that. Don't call on a Monday. Everybody calls on Monday. Call later in the week. So that's my best advice.
Yeah, that's kind of what we have. But and then there's like a ton of other things you can try, but I feel like that's the most streamlined way you can fax stuff. But that's just getting kind of crazy. So But that's kind of what we have about that, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so. So let's get into really briefly the second round of stimulus checks and who would be eligible. The reason being is, again, we get a lot of comments of people saying, I'm on SSDI, do I get the second stimulus? Now, of course, we say this in all of our videos. We don't know all the details yet. Everything is a proposal. We can look at the proposal and speculate. We can deduct what we may think will come out of this. But again, it's a proposal, and we're not going to know the final details for probably the next couple or few weeks or so. But what can we expect? Like, based on the information that we know, what can we anticipate? Again, this is not fact. This is just what we're anticipating, speculating with the information that we have. And that is, I would anticipate, considering the timing of these next round of payments and considering who was included in the first round, I would say anyone and everyone who received a payment on the first round of stimulus checks is probably going to be included in the second round. So if you're someone who received your first stimulus check, if you have SSDI, SSI, any of those, and you received a stimulus check the first time, I would say the likelihood of getting a second one is probably pretty high. That's just my assumption based on what we're seeing and the timing of the payment being distributed, nicely right before the elections. But that's what I anticipate. However, last week I had a video on Wednesday, and there was an announcement from President Trump. He was in a news conference, and a reporter said, President Trump, will there be another stimulus package? And he said, yes, it's going to be very good. Or maybe he said it's very good. It's going to be very generous, and it's going to have bipartisan support. So who knows what that means, but who knows? Maybe this next round will include more people than who, that were missed out on the first round. So we're watching it very closely. Don't worry. As soon as we get details, we're going to deliver them to you because I know that everybody is anxiously awaiting them. But as for those of you who have not received it yet, again, we're here. We're continuing to help you through this situation. We know that we don't have all the answers, but we're doing as much as we can to get those answers and help you through this time.
And we're going to get this question like 50 times in the queue. When is the second stimulus coming?
Yep.
We do not know. Nobody knows. If somebody says they know, they don't.
And for the people,
nobody knows, not even the people in the government.
And so, even the people that say in the comments,
hopefully soon, but we don't know.
Yeah, that's right. Even the people that comment, I already got my second one. No, you didn't.
Nobody.
There isn't a second one. Not yet. Not yet. There isn't. So if you hear somebody saying I got my second one, it's not true. They didn't. No. They didn't get anything. No. So that's not true. If anything, maybe they did get a second payment on accident. That is happening to some people. Consider it a gift. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and so we want to give accurate information. We want to be honest.
Yep.
And we want to let you know that about what we have heard about the second stimulus, but we also want you to just not give false hope.
Exactly.
But at the same time, we want to tell you what we're hearing from good sources.
So that's it for today. Again, we continue to come back with these videos because we're dedicated to helping all of you navigate this time and get through this, because that's what we do here. We try to look out for all of you in any way we possibly can. So, we can only do as much as we can with the information that we're given. So this is what we have for today.
So thank you so much.
Have a nice day, everybody. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Bye.
See you.